everyone, and welcome to our Ultimate Music Teachers interview today. I'm your host, Glory St. Germain, and I'm so excited to welcome my very special guest, Cheryl Florin, all the way on the other side of the world from me. And I'm so excited. Welcome, Cheryl.
Thank you, Glory. Thanks for having me today.
It's just so great that you're here. And I want to say congratulations. You're one of our Ultimate Music Theory Certified Teachers. And I know that you teach piano and music theory at Salisbury University. And you're a very accomplished pianist and accompanist. And I am so excited to hear your story. Can you take us back a little bit about your experience as a student?
A student. Well, I started piano at age 4. I really wanted to take lessons, and I had 2 older sisters that were playing, and they both quit, and I was playing their music instead of mine, and I went to college for piano. I just really loved it, and I have a minor in music theory, and I went and got my master's with another minor in music theory, and here I am.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And how is you're over at the Presto University, or actually rather that is the name of your business there, Salisbury University Presto. Can you tell us a little bit about your teaching business?
Sure, it's an outreach program for like a preparatory program for students of all ages from 5 to 105. And we have all instruments there that we teach. We have a chorus there, and we have a youth orchestra there. We're trying to incorporate music theory a little bit more, I think, to make things a little bit more structural and sound in the program.
Yeah, that's so fantastic. Maybe share a little bit about your experience as you were going through the Ultimate Music Theory certification course for teachers.
As I was going through the course, I did the first level while I was on vacation, believe it or not, on the beach. And that was a really great experience. It was like a flashback from the past in music theory, but I think the most exciting thing about taking the class and the course was the structure of how the ultimate music theory really presented itself for me, and to think more in that line of get in that line of thinking so that my students can understand it more. It was a very clear approach, and that was, I could see as I was taking it how much it would benefit the students.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So let's talk about where you are and where I am. So I'm in Canada land, and share a little bit about where you are in the world and how you think music teaching might be a little different between where I am in North America and where you are.
Well, we live on what we call the Eastern Shore, and we're at the tip of the Eastern Shore. And a lot of people here, it was very interesting because I came from upstate New York near Vermont in Saratoga Springs. And the people here their love for music, their passion for singing and playing instruments just casually is enormous. And I just kind of found that music theory would be such a great structure for them, as they really had such a desire to play and sing music.
Yes. And how did you go? You're in Australia right now, are you?
No, I'm in the U.S.
Oh, you're in the U.S. right now. Okay.
On the Eastern Shore, the tip of Maryland.
Oh, right.
That's where we are. Pardon me. Sorry about that, Glory.
Yeah, no, we have educators from around the world in our programs. And so often I'm always thinking, what country am I in now? Right. So it really is an interesting thing when we think about collaborating. And we do know that our musicians and the students that you're teaching aren't necessarily going to stay in that state for forever. They're going to do some traveling. They may even go to another country. But you are providing them, and congratulations, Cheryl, because you're providing them with such a solid foundation in education that I'm sure they're really, really grateful. I want you to share a story. Just before we started recording, you were telling me a story about your student and how he was really enjoying it. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. My student is, I'd say, almost a teenager, 12, 13 years old. And he's a violinist, and he's phenomenal violinist. I am not his violin teacher. I don't teach violin. And he went into my music theory class, and his mom said to me yesterday that this is his favorite class. He loves it so much. She doesn't have to tell him to do the homework. She has to tell him to do nothing. And he just giggled, which was funny. And then he said, and I also want to play the piano. So now we're starting that. So I think that the music theory kind of broadened his interests. And that's what you really want to do when they're that age. And I also think it gave him a lot of structure in his playing.
Yeah. I think one of the things too that's so important is that we do have a lot of, different disciplines. Tulane, who is in Zimbabwe, teaches saxophone. Mark Fanschmidt, he teaches violin and viola. We have voice teachers. Piano teachers such as yourself. And the foundation is still music theory. And probably as he was going through music theory with you, even though he was taking violin, it probably made it easier for him to start piano because he now had that foundation, right?
Yeah, he actually didn't know anything about piano. Yeah. And he couldn't read the bass clef, obviously. A violinist would have trouble with that. And so he's got it all down pat, and he's going to the piano and playing the songs of the excerpts from the music theory book that he's in. And he's able to do that. And I think that he really is finding a love for music theory.
Yeah, it's, and it's interesting. I remember I was teaching a set of twins, and they used to come in and they would always say, they did piano and theory with me, and they'd always say, can we do theory first? And I said, oh, I love you guys. I need to get you recordings saying that, because they just had a lot of fun. So share with me, Cheryl, what's coming up? I know you're doing a collaborative open house. Can you share a little bit about that?
So we're going to be doing a collaborative open house with the Arts Council, the Presto program at Salisbury University, which is which I told you about, and with the youth orchestra. And we're going to try to get all of those three organizations together. And I think music theory can benefit all of those three organizations. And if we can get a chorale as well for vocalists, I think that would do the same thing.
Yes. You are just serving at such a high level when you present, I think, a complete music program. So often, we hear of educators that maybe are teaching at a school and there is no foundation. It's just like teach whatever you want to teach. And I am so grateful that, that we got to collaborate and have this conversation, because it just goes to show you how important it is to not only have a foundation in music theory, but to give students this, palette of colors that they can paint with, because your young student may become a conductor, maybe a composer. You just don't know. He might become a multi-instrumentalist, and he might become a recording artist. Like, you're just opening the box for him to explore. And that gets me really excited, because these are the teachers of the future, and the world needs music. We really know how it has served us, especially in the last few years, where many of my students were, doing their school homework in their bedroom, doing their practicing with their instrument in their bedroom, and then still having a social life, but only because of being online. So I think we're really presenting this wonderful opportunity for musicians, as you said, of all ages, in really learning and growing. So what is your favorite thing about teaching?
When a student really gets it and you get a smile on their face, that's really what gets me in my heart, is to see a student go, oh, I get it. After you've said, the same thing 25 times in 25 different ways, and you understand that they don't get it yet, and then it just clicks, and that's a special moment for me.
Yeah, it really is. And I think so many times too, we learn from our students. I've learned a lot from teaching over the years, and sometimes we say it's something that can't be taught, it needs to be experienced, right? So I think we all have embarrassing stories, teaching stories. So I'm going to invite you to think about, what was one of your most embarrassing teaching stories?
Well, one of them, I have to say, just happened a couple weeks ago, so it's fresh in my mind. And I just want to tag along what you said before I tell the story. And that is, I always have a philosophy of when one teaches to learn.
Yes.
And that's a big one. But anyway, a funny story is I had a student playing the piano the other day, and she's a beginner student, and she was had her hands on her lap, and I wanted her to put her hands on the keys. And I'm thinking in my mind of, oh, she's learning her third note, C, G. Now she's going to learn F, and that's 3 notes, right? So I said to her, put all 3 hands on the piano. And then I stopped myself, and we all burst out laughing.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. And sometimes we just say things and then we don't even know what we're talking, like it just kind of comes out, right? But when I was teaching a student online, and I was saying, okay, and I've got my music and she's got her music and she's sitting at her keyboard and the lesson is just starting. And so I'm inviting her, to play the right, and she's playing all the wrong notes. And I'm kind of confused about what she's doing. And I said, are you on page 36? And she said, yes, I am. And I'm like, you're just not even reading the music. Can you show me your book? And so realize she's in a different book than I am. So there you go. It's just like, maybe I should have been a little more specific about which book we're starting with. But ironically, she was on the right page, but wrong book. So I was like, oh, well, lesson learned. Well, so tell me what's coming up next for you in your music teaching.
Well, we have a big concert in November that some of my students are playing in. It's a
Nice.
Classics for the Cause concert, and I'm also accompanying some of the instrumentalists there, and that's a really big concert in the area for all of us. We're really excited, and what it does is it supports the arts and children in the arts, and it's run by all the teenagers that are in the arts in the area. So that's what's the big event here. We're all excited about that.
Yes. Well, thank you, Cheryl, so much, and congratulations on your massive success and the wonderful teaching that you're providing for all of your students. I'm really proud of you. And what would you say to someone who's considering taking the Ultimate Music Theory certification course?
Oh, do it. Definitely. You've got to do it because it just puts everything into place in your mind. And it makes playing your instrument, whether that be voice or piano or guitar, anything, it makes it that much more solid.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Cheryl. I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom and your stories with me today. Just in a final note, as you're looking forward at musicians in today's world, which has changed a lot, I started as perhaps you did as well, BC, before computers. And so technology has changed how we teach. What do you think is still the one thing that is the most important in communicating through music education?
So what you're trying to ask me is what's the most important thing that a person can do in music education today?
Yes.
Gloria, I really have to say music theory in my heart is really a solid foundation because music production and engineering in music and all that stuff is one of the major facets in music today.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that without music theory.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think too, if with that foundation as well, it does open up the door to so many more opportunities. When I look back at my many years of teaching and my, hundreds, if not thousands of students through the years and see how far they have grown. And also it builds self-confidence, right? Because just as you were sharing, Cheryl, you've got this big event coming up, performance opportunities, and you're sharing that the teens are in there getting involved in what it's all about and the excitement backstage and, the mental preparation. It serves you whether you're going to make music a career for your life or just enjoyment in, playing a few Christmas songs for grandma. You still will get that self-confidence in getting up on the stage or just the enjoyment of sharing your passion with music. So thank you so much, Cheryl. I'm so grateful that you joined me today, and congratulations again. Have an amazing day. Thank you, Cheryl.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now.